Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the How to Build a Team podcast with Pam and David. Today on our show, we have another very special guest, a good friend of mine, Scott Patton. Scott is a video course producer with over 80 courses produced and over 115,000 enrollees. He is an international renowned speaker on topics including business, reverse marketing, mobile marketing, blogging, podcasting, copywriting, and SEO. His passion is working with NGOs and other nonprofits to help them get their message out to the wider community. Welcome, Scott.
Thanks, David. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah,
See you again.
Yeah, it's good seeing you again too. It's really cool. Like we're so far away from each other, but we've met, and so that's somewhat unusual in today's world.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's taken us some time to kind of coordinate this. It's with our time zone and your time zone, and we're in different hemispheres. And I think geographically, this is the biggest distance we've ever done on one of our podcasts. So,
oh wow,
I'm gonna have to confirm that, but I'm pretty sure that you're geographically the furthest away from us of anyone we've done.
I'm in Colombia, South America, in case anyone's wondering where that would be.
Right.
Yeah. So I met Scott last year.
Yes.
We were one of the speakers. It was a conference that was held here in the Philippines, and then we traveled to Southeast Asia, and I was lucky to meet Scott personally. And what interests me the most about Scott is that, like what we've mentioned in his profile, his intro, he has produced courses. And that is something that, as entrepreneur, for those people who are listening to us right now, business owners, we are content maker. Mm-hmm. And creating contents for our audience is something that we're kind of like, we're doing it day in, day out. And you've done you've produced so many courses, to mention Udemy and some other platforms. And this is amazing that you've got 115,000 students there, enrollees there. So it really, makes it legit. That, oh my gosh, how did you do that? Can you tell us about that?
Well, the first thing I have to tell you is I'm going to have to update wherever you got that information from, because it's 150 courses and it's 380,000 students or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
we definitely got some old numbers.
Well, and most of my courses are on Udemy.com. And every once in a while when I go there, I check, I have to go to my profile or my settings or whatever, and I see my profile and I go, well, that number's wrong and that number's wrong, and I have to keep updating them. But
I think we stole those numbers from some of your social media, so there's some homework for you. You have to go and hunt out which ones need updating.
I'm just going to change the number to a lot.
That's McDonald's used to have when I was growing up. They would have 100 million served or 500 million served, and now it's just millions and millions served.
Yeah, that's right, millions and millions. I think the one thing that people don't realize is how impactful having a course or series of courses can be on their business, and I certainly didn't. I've been teaching podcasting since 2005. And about 5 or 6 years ago, the people that made the Starbucks phone app asked me to come and talk to their marketing department because they wanted to do podcasts. And after a 2-hour meeting, the director of marketing came up to me and he said, Scott, you've got to make a course on podcasting. What you shared was absolutely amazing. And I said, well, I have a 3-page PDF. Like, what more do I need? And he was very insistent that I make a video course. So I did that. And the biggest change for me was I do call it reverse marketing. In other words, instead of knocking on doors, bang, bang, do you want a podcast? No. Bang, bang, do you want a podcast? No. What was happening was all of a sudden people were coming to me and saying, hey, Scott, can you help me with a podcast. We hear this podcasting thing is really big and we don't know what to do. Can you help us? So instead of me, going out and asking people, do you need this service? People were coming to me saying, we need help. So I call that kind of like reverse marketing. And that's the advantage of being an expert in your area. And we're all expert at something.
Right.
Some of us might be expert on making sourdough bread, or on podcasting, or on creating a team, those sort of things. So we all have things that we do day in, day out that we're really good at. If you just work in an office, maybe you're really good at Excel spreadsheets. And of course, you need to look at your life. You need to look at your business direction and, what do you want to do? Usually if you're a small business or you're an entrepreneur, then you have a number of skills that are needed. But the problem is that how do you find those people that need your skill? And knocking on doors is the hardest way to do that, in my opinion. Putting up a course, having people spend an hour and a half with you. So we're not talking about 12-hour courses, everything you need to know about Excel or anything like that. We're talking about an hour and a half course that gives a taste of you to your potential clients and to your potential customers. And you want to show them that you know enough that you can help you. They know that you can help them, right? And then you do a series of courses, you get a little deeper on different things, not because you want all of your knowledge out there, but because people search for different things. So, how to do an accounting spreadsheet in Excel versus how to track inventory in Excel could be two separate things. And someone that's saying, well, I've got this inventory problem, I don't know what to do, but my boss told me to use Excel, and they go and they check and they find your course, they watch it, and then they say to their boss, George here, who did this course on Excel, would be a great person to bring in to consult and help us set this all up right. And that's kind of the process that I take all of my co-instructors through.
So you could take, using that same idea, and you actually just popped a whole bunch of thoughts and ideas into my head with that, Scott. The Udemy courses or the Thinkific or other online platform courses that I've personally taken as a consumer have been 10-hour, 15-hour. I'm doing one right now that, just going through the outline, I think it's going to take me like 30 or 40 hours to go through this course. Wow. And I had never thought of doing a short course as almost like a digital business card or a teaser towards either a bigger course to get, you go from that hour-long course on Excel into a 10-hour course on Excel, or a face-to-face meeting training. Not that we're doing those these days, but
right. Or Zoom meetings.
I think our Zoom meeting on one-on-one, as opposed to a canned content of a course, or even as a teaser towards a higher value program on Udemy or something like that, where somebody might be reluctant to lay down $99 for a course until they've spent the $9 on a course and like the way you teach and things like that. So it's just some thoughts that Pam and I have been having recently. That's a really good idea. We're going to talk about that more at some point in the next couple.
And I think the key thing there as well is, if you want to have a taste of how is it to work with you as an expert, is you put out there something that is, smaller chunks of actionable items, easy to follow, something that they can easily apply to their business, like in an hour, like what you said, Scott. It's just an hour course, but especially if you're a solopreneur or you're starting out your business, and if you stumble upon a course that is about 6 hours, that's kind of like overwhelming already. But with what you're doing, it's actionable items, which is brilliant.
Yeah, it's like, I look at, there are these marketers that say, you get this product of mine, you're going to get, and then there's like 100 items, and they're all 4 hours long. And I look at it and I say, you just lost me, because there is no way I can even evaluate which one of these things I want to take. So this whole, 12-hour course thing, well, the 12-hour courses are probably like 7 or 8 years old. They're from a company that does these sort of things, and it's another place that they put their course, because generally speaking, with the Udemy marketplace, every time somebody puts a 12-hour course up, They then post in the Facebook group or the forum. I just spent 6 months, 12-hour days putting together this incredible course on pick a topic, and it's like 20 hours long. It's been live for a month, and I have 3 customers. One was my mom, and you can just feel, I just feel so much sadness for these people because they've missed out on the bait. Of course, they're trainers, they're not marketers, so they don't know you need to test the market. So in my process is 3 hours. I tell all my instructors every course is going to be 3 hours of your time, which means that if the course is a total flop and nobody likes it, not even us, it was like we went to the theater and watched a movie for 2.5 hours and we didn't like it. It was like, oh, well, that was a waste of time, but
smaller investment in your time.
But if you're spending, 12-hour days for months on end, putting all this widgeting stuff moving around, and Udemy is going to sell it for $10, $11, or $12, which doesn't make me feel good either, then, it's like you have to test the market if you're going to do that. And my podcast, the other thing too is everything changes and grows. So my podcast course started out at probably 3 or 4 hours because I didn't know what I know now. And if you look at it, it's 10 or 11 hours. But what happened was I made a little video last week and I put it up and it was like 10 minutes. And then over the last 3 or 4 years, I've done that a few times. And then I might have David on to talk about outsourcing for podcasters. And he talked for half an hour with me and I put that up. And before you know it, I'm at 10 hours. But it wasn't like I spent all that time at one sitting to do it. It was over the years, it grows because you learn new things, you change and everything else. So I look at the courses totally as a lead generation tool. And it's a way for you to have your tribe get attracted to you. And when you do lots of different courses, if Udemy sells every course for $10 and you've got one 10-hour course, that's a $10 sale. Whereas if you've got 10 one-hour courses, that's $100 sales. And I know which I would prefer, right?
Yeah. Let me dive deeper into this conversation, Scott. If I am let's pretend that I am a solopreneur. I just started out and I don't know how to get my messaging out there. I want to do some lead generation. And you mentioned that this is another type of lead generation, not knocking on every client's door and asking,
Right.
hey, do you want my service? But it is, creating a course is the best way of giving them a taste of how is it like to work with you. But if you are going to create a course, what is the number one or maybe a couple things that you need to keep in mind, like your very first 2 things that you want to implement so that you can come up with a course?
Well, the very, very first thing is the end. So what is the end result? So for example, let's say that you're a software programmer and you do customer CRMs, right? Customer, what I don't even know what that means, but you have this software, right? And you've created it. It's wonderful software. It works great. And you want to do a monthly fee. Like I look at things and I think, okay, how can I make it so that it's a monthly recurring income that I don't actually have to do anything, right? So if you create this software and then you sell it for $25 a month, then you get 100 customers. That's $250 a month, $2,500 a month. That's a pretty nice income for most of us. So particularly if it's an extra income. So if that's the case, then you want to be able to teach people how to use your software. If you have a skill set, then let's say you're a graphic designer, you're a graphic artist, you can make YouTube video thumbnails or something, right? Well, the problem is that if you're a graphic designer, there's a million graphic designers. So my first piece of advice would be, if you're a graphic designer, become a YouTube thumbnail graphic designer. Like be really specific, right?
Yeah.
The second thing is that most people are incredibly lazy. So if they're poor and incredibly lazy, they're not your target market, right? Because they're not going to pay you anything because they're poor. So what you want is someone that has a medium-sized business. For example, if you're looking for a YouTuber, you want them to have a medium-sized business. You don't want them to be starting out too, because they don't have any money to pay you, right? So if the YouTuber is a person that makes sourdough bread and they've got this following on sourdough bread, or they want to have and they've got this, but their thumbnails are terrible. So what they say, when they are a do-it-yourselfer because they don't know how to find anybody, right? Then they'll go to Udemy and they'll say, well, how do I make good YouTube thumbnails? So your YouTube thumbnail course is going to stand out because they're looking for that. They're not looking for a graphic design, and they're not looking for a graphic artist. They're not looking for how to do Photoshop, painty, flurry things that look really cool for photographs. They're looking for thumbnails. So the chances are that a certain percentage of people that take that course, well, everybody that takes a course is going to watch it, and then they're going to be like, I don't know how to do this any more now than I did before, because they don't do the exercises, they don't practice, they don't they don't take the time, and then they're just like, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know what to do. And so a certain percentage of those are going to be your customer, right? Because you've shown them that you do this and you do this and you do this, and look at this beautiful thumbnail. And it's going to increase your conversions like 85% and all that sort of good stuff. So they know they need it. They just don't have the time, the knowledge. They don't even have probably Photoshop or any of those programs. So they're going to call you up and say, David, that was an awesome course on thumbnails. I have a channel. Could you look at my channel and tell me what you think? And that is the key, right? Because not only are you going to look at the thumbnails, you're going to look at the channel art. And then you're going to look at the designs that go into the flashy stuff on the videos that they've got, or the intros that they've got, or the extras that they've got, or you know what? When you do a video, you should have a Instagram post. So I'll make an Instagram image for you, or you should put it on Facebook, and you should have that. I mean, there's all these places where we can put images, right, to drive traffic to our YouTube channel. So it's not just like that one thing. It's kind of like when you're chopping a tree. If you have a sledgehammer, it's going to be a long, hard, difficult time, and you're never going to chop down the tree, because sledgehammers don't do that. And that's what I think most people do when they say, I'm a graphic artist. Like, that's a sledgehammer, and you're trying to take a redwood down. But if you've got an axe and you've sharpened the axe, and then you start chopping, that point gives you another point, another point, another point, another point. And that's how you grow your business. So the idea is not to just do thumbnails. It's to do all of their graphic art. So you look at their website. Well, that's a terrible website. Here is a design for your website. I don't know how to do the website, but I know how to do the design. I'll work with your web designer, and he can put all this stuff in and make it look beautiful, right? So you want to always look at your customer and say, what else do they need? What other problems do they need? And in my area of expertise, which is YouTube thumbnails and art, I can help them this way. And now you've got somebody that isn't a one-off where they just get a thumbnail once. They're putting a video up every week. So every week you're doing a thumbnail for them.
There you
And
go.
they're going to tell their friends, and their friends are going to say, wow, where's that thumbnail come from? And they're going to say, David did it. And then you're going to get referrals, word of mouth, which are the best customers.
I guess the bottom line here is you have to know your audience. Who are you targeting to? It can't be like, all right, I'm targeting small business owners. There are tons of billions of, thousands of business owners. You have to be specific, and I guess for your own personal, you have to assess as well, what is your skill, your best skill that you can, like, for example, for your client number one, your best skill is this. Then I'm going to offer this skill to them, and I'm going to showcase my skill by creating this course, this video course that we're talking about. I guess the bottom line there really is know your avatar, know your audience, and don't reinvent the wheel. Don't try to, there are so many information out there, and it's like you you're going to grow your business if you solve a problem. And just like what Scott mentioned, if you are your target audience, if you're a graphic designer and your target audience is a YouTuber, then find out what is that specific YouTuber is struggling with. What is their problem that you can solve, because that is your superpower. And if your
Right.
superpower as a graphic artist is creating thumbnails, then maybe start with that. And then as you kind of like hook that client into working with you, then you kind of like innovate and figure out what other things you can help this YouTuber with. And that is,
Right.
that's exactly what Scott is trying to, telling us on how to do those first two things first if you're going to create your course. That is so well said, Scott. Now,
Thank you.
once let's say, all right, I already figured out my avatar. I already know my superpower. Now I know this is the solution that I'm gonna provide my client to solve their problem. Now, how can you promote this to your audience? You already created a course. How are you going to promote it?
Well, that's really an interesting question, because everybody who's making $500,000 to $1 million or more on Udemy, which there's 55,000 instructors, and I'll tell you that 54,500 of them are not making a lot of money. But the top end people that are, they all say the same thing, which is we just make courses. We do not promote particularly. We just make our courses and Udemy sells. And that's one of the things that I love about Udemy is they do the marketing. So you can, so they do all the marketing, right? So you can give away some free courses. What I recommend is give away free courses until you've got, around 2,000 people. And it's not necessarily a free course, it's a review copy. So David, I've got this new course. I'd really like you to, I'd love to send you a review copy. If you could leave a review when you're done, it's something I know you love. And he's going to go, yeah, okay, great. And so I can send him a free coupon. He signs up, he takes the course, he leaves a 5-star review. So if you go and you look at a course on YouTube thumbnail creation, and there's 2 courses, and one's by David. It has 2,543 students and 55-star reviews. The other one is by Scott. It happens to have 4 students and 1 3-star review. Which one are you going to buy?
Yeah.
Right. So you have to kind of set it up for success. Udemy can't sell a course with 3 students and a 2-star review. It's just not going to happen. So once you set it up, then Udemy does all of that. But the whole thing is the course. What the course on Udemy does is it gives you credibility. I'm an instructor on YouTube thumbnail marketing, and my course on Udemy has 2,000 students and 25 5-star reviews. Now all of a sudden people are paying attention to you because Udemy is saying it, not you. Then it's like, okay, who is my ideal avatar? And so the neat thing, the thing about the thumbnails is you can do a search on anything and all the thumbnails are bad. I mean, unless it's a music video, because they spend, they do record covers and everything else. I mean, they spend a lot of money on that, but just about everybody else isn't. So for example, that you are going after chiropractors. So you do a search for chiropractors on YouTube. There's hundreds, if not thousands of chiropractors that put videos up. And then you look at their thumbnails and say, well, this guy's got a terrible thumbnail. So you send him a free coupon and you say, hey, I was looking at your site. I really like it. I have a course on thumbnails and I thought it would really be helpful for you. And so you send that out to 30, 40, 50, 100 chiropractors. And let's just say you send it out to 100 chiropractors, 50 chiropractors watch it or sign up. And then 20 of them watch it and 10 of them finish it. And 8 of them call you up and say, could you help me? Because chiropractors don't have time to do this, right? They don't know anything about it. So they say, well, David does great course. Can you go and, what do you think I should do? Well, I think you should make better thumbnails. Oh, okay. Do you want me to make some for you? Oh, okay. And now you've got some clients, right? Which,
Yeah.
and it's a rapid, like my background is a grocery store business, right? We always talked about rapid consumables. And that's why Kit Kat bar, the chocolate bars are all at the front where you're checking out, because
Yeah.
you'll look at them, you go, oh, Kit Kat, and you'll buy it and you'll eat it and you'll be finished eating it by the time you're paying and you need to go get another one. And
Right.
and so we just happen to hit on thumbnails for YouTube, but that is a rapid consumable because they're making a new video every day, every week, every month, whatever it is, and they need a new thumbnail every time. So, you know, when you're looking at your skills, look at it from the perspective of what is something that people need over and over and over again. Okay, so accountants, you know, tax season is a busy time of year for them. And everybody has to do taxes. Otherwise, you know, if only 10 people a year had to do taxes, the accountants would all be out of work because it's not a rapid consumable, it's a annual consumable. So you want to look at your skills and like, what is something that Pam is going to need every time that I provide, right? And then it's like, okay, and this is what I know. And the thumbnails is just such a beautiful example of that, because you need a new one every time you do a video, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect example. And if there's any graphic artists or budding graphic artists listening or watching to this, get in touch with Scott, build your course, get rich from thumbnails on YouTube.
Yeah.
I would love to do that. That would be really fun.
Yeah, it's amazing how, you know, how simple it is to really, you know, it's not simple as like, you know, simple, it's easy to do. But if you're going to really look into, you know, wanting to provide a solution to your audience, to your target avatars, then, you know, you really have to look into smaller chunks, you know, actionable items, things that are easily like what you said, easily consumed. And people right now are into videos, into, you know, creating videos, into creating lives, into social media. Like the social media right now has rocketed its traffic, the audience. Everybody's into social media, and that's another thing. I mean,
and Instagram is all images.
Right. And that is, you know, a powerful platform that you can look into to promote your course, to promote your business, but also you have to showcase, because, you know, the audience right now are very smart. Let me just share you a quick example, a story that we had. You know, showcasing your business or your skills, your superpower. You know, clients right now are very smart. They're not gonna just buy and say, okay, this looks good. It is you know, nice looking graphic, but they're gonna really do your research on you. They're gonna look at your social media. They're gonna look at case studies. And we onboarded a new client about 2 months ago. So she's not like kind of like new, but, you know, 2 months old with us. But before, you know, before she committed with us, she did her research. She looked at our website. She looked at the case studies and all of that. So it's really about showcasing your skills and creating a course, providing a free course in the beginning just to, you know, set your platform to success, and really, you know, get this audience coming into you and really building your credibility as well. That is the best way to showcase, you know, and promote your skills, your business, by providing a course. And we are actually in the middle of creating a course, but this is for freelancers. Yeah. Well, when the pandemic started, you know, a lot of freelancers or aspiring freelancers are reaching out to me and wanting to become a freelancer. Great Work Online is geared towards more to clients, and we are not really actually providing courses, but our way of wanting to help out these freelancers, people who lost their jobs and wanted to start, doing some online job, work from home. And so we thought about, okay, why don't we create a course? And this is a mini class that we're gonna launch. And this is like what you said, Scott. It's like, giving us some kind of like a reminder if what we're doing is cool. Smaller chunks of courses, like that's why we called it mini class, because actionable items that they can apply right away. So that. I mean, that is a bomb that you just dropped on us right now, to all of our listeners. If you're thinking about creating a course and how you can showcase your skills, creating a course is the answer. Promoting it to social media is another way. And smaller chunks, actionable items, those are the most sellable items right now. Easy to follow, easy to apply.
Yeah. And you just reminded me of another advantage of the courses, and that is, particularly if you're putting out a certain number of, depending on your sales, but I put out a certain number of free coupons every month, because I always want new people coming into the course. And then, of course, what happens when you've got like 10 courses on one topic and you get them in for free to one, you can then sell them all the other ones as well. But now I forgot what I was going to say. It's like, it's late here. It's gone now.
It will
well, it's being of service, right? It's not just, you're not just doing it to, if you serve enough people in there and you serve them well, the money looks after itself. And oftentimes I find people are too focused on the instant, I need money right now, as opposed to building the reputation and building the business. And I've been doing a lot of work with very successful real estate investors, and it's amazing to me how they all say the same thing. We do our business with a servant's heart. We're here to serve our customers. And when you come from that place, it really makes a huge difference. And you're right, Pam, when you said the customers have a critical eye, because if you're doing graphic work for somebody, don't just throw a bunch of stuff together and say, here's a sample, what do you think? Because the customer can really tell if you've taken, no time at all and no thought and just thrown together a couple, stock images that you've got and said, here you go. Or you've spent some time to really put together a quality piece. And, anybody can pretty much take two images, merge them together and say, well, there you go. And you need to make sure that the quality of the work that you're doing is exceptional, because we live in a world with millions of people that do what we do. And how do you stand out? And the way you stand out is by being really good at what you do and doing what you say you're going to do. And that's because most people don't do what they say they're going to do, and they don't really put in much effort. I mean, in my opinion, that's not everybody, but there's certainly the majority of people that, well, this is the minimum requirement of my job, and that's what I'm going to do. And if that's your attitude as the instructor, is that your attitude as the YouTube thumbnail maker, then you're going to be struggling, and you're going to wonder, like, why is everybody struggling and it's not working out? It's because you're not putting your heart into it. You're not coming from a servant's heart and really doing something that you would be really proud of. Kind of reminds me of this guy asked two workers that were bricklayers, and and he said to one of them, like, what are you doing? He says, I'm building a brick wall. And they went to the next guy, what are you doing? I'm building a cathedral. And they were building a cathedral. There's a totally different attitude with that, right? So, and I had that experience recently where it was actually in graphics, and I said, I really need some graphics. They said, oh, we'll do it for you, no problem. And I said, well, I'd like to pay you. No, it's free. Well, it was worth what I paid for it, to be quite honest. And the sad part is that I was looking for a graphic designer, And I would have used that person over and over and over again. But I thought, I can do a better job than this, you know.
Yeah,
I wanted somebody that could do a better job than me.
Right,
And,
right.
you know,
That is very powerful, Scott. Because you know what, we as an entrepreneur, you're right, we serve. We don't do what we do day in day out just because we want to have money, not
right?
just because we want to have a living, we want to earn a living. Yes, it is true, but it's more of like we want to help people, we want to serve. And if you don't have that passion, it's going to show in your work.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So speaking of that, before we wrap up, Scott, I know you've been doing all of these things, everything, course, the podcast. I've been seeing you almost every night, our nighttime. You're live on Facebook, you're live on social media, and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at Scott. Is really, out right now. For like last year, I haven't seen you that much, but
Oh,
for the past few months, I'm like, oh
I
my god,
know.
I see a notification live, Scott live on this, which I want you to discuss later on. I want you to invite our listeners as well. But how do you all these things? You're so busy. You're out you're in Colombia right now. You travel a lot. That is your passion as well. But how
Yeah.
do you do this?
Well, it's one of those things where if I knew what I was getting into, I probably wouldn't. Uh, One of the reasons I have 150 courses, and 3 of the courses are only me. And the reason I have 150 courses is because I do work with co-instructors. If I did the courses by myself, I would make twice as much money. But when I booked the time to make my course in my calendar, I would look outside and see that it's sunny, and I would go, oh, it's sunny. I don't know how long it's going to remain sunny. I should go for a walk. And then I will go for a walk or a bike ride or do something else, and I won't make my course. But when I have a co-instructor, and similarly like with tonight, for me tonight, I guess morning for you, when you said, Scott, at 9:45 we're going to do a get together and interview you and blah blah blah, I'm going to show up because I'm not going to embarrass myself and not show up for you, and that's mean and all the rest of it. So we show up for people when we won't necessarily show up for ourselves, and this is why I think collaboration is so important. You hold me accountable by just the fact that I have to be here and participate, and so I will, right? But if I didn't have this with you right now and I wanted to record something, I would be watching the hockey game because my team is in the playoffs. So, and I wouldn't be doing it, right? So I always look for ways that I can be held accountable by other people so that I actually do what I'm going to do. So the 2 live streams so what happened was I've been doing all these live streams for my clients, and I thought, I kind of like, talking and, and contributing and putting out my knowledge and that sort of stuff, and I really should do it. So one group that is free-ebooks.net. You can get free downloads of ebooks there, and they've got 2.5 million members, and they got 40,000 authors and everything else, and I'm involved with them. And so I said to them, well, why not let's do this live stream, and we can put authors on and talk about their books. We can have coaches on, talk about how authors can sell more books and do all of this. And they said, yeah, great idea. So then I booked the same time every week. That's one of the things that I always do. I'm not going to say it's Thursday at 10 o'clock this week, and I don't know when it's going to be next week, because we're so used to, like, when if you watch a TV show, it's every Thursday at 8 at night. That's when it is. So you show up and you watch the show. And of course, we have streaming and all that sort of stuff now, so you don't always necessarily have to do that. But basically, when you have that same, and that's what I do with all my clients, we do the same day every week for 1 hour. We do a live stream, and if next week you can't make it, no problem, we can shift it. But the following week, it's the same time. It's the same time.
It has to be. Yeah. It needs to be consistent.
So I thought if I'm going to do this for the freeebooks.net, then I have a free hour between that and when I have to record for a client. So I'm going to book that for my internet marketing. So then I did a really dumb thing. I put on Facebook, hey, all my internet marketing friends, if you want to be on my show, here's the link, book yourself. And before you know it, I was booked for 2 months. Now, looking back on it, that's way too much work.
Mhm.
Way too much work. I did, and it's like, Thursdays is just a crazy, crazy day. Now, 2 months into it, I'm used to it. It's just normal now. So that's kind of the way that the reason why I'm doing it. Well, then you kind of know the reason why, but the reason how is David's going to be on my internet marketing podcast show, next Thursday at 10 o'clock Eastern. So I'm going to show up. I don't really have a choice, right? And I may from time to time just go live and do my own little thing, but almost all of them will be interviews and talks because it's far more interesting for me to talk with you, Pam, or you, David, about something than it is for me to just monologue. But I think from time to time, I feel like doing a rant, and I might just
that is also a way of you showcasing your superpower, Scott. Yeah.
Well, I never would have come up with that answer. Thank you, Pam.
And I know it's hard to book a call with you because, to be honest, guys, we've been trying to book Scott for quite a long time already, and his calendar is booked. So now here he is, and we are so happy that you're on the show, Scott.
Thank you.
You've given our listeners, our viewers, a lot of insights and tips and guides on how they can start their own course. And you've given us a lot of tips. And I hope you guys were able to take down notes. I was taking down notes on how we can, you can start showcasing your skills, your superpower, as I call it. Scott, before we go, why don't you invite us? What is this live that you have so that they can watch? I'm pretty sure they can get something out of it. Tons of nuggets as well, just like what you did with us right now. You gave us tons of nuggets. And where can we find you?
Well, I'm somewhat of a hermit and an introvert, so I can be hard to find. If you go to well, the easiest way is Scott A. Patton is my facebook.com/Scott A. Patton. And if you follow me, I'm very close to the 5,000 limit. But if you follow me, then you'll get the notification when I go live.
Yeah.
And if you go to YouTube and you search Power Podcasters, that's the YouTube channel that I go live on. Both shows, the free ebooks, the author one, and the internet marketing one, go live. I stream it to there. I use StreamYard like we're using today. I love it. So those are the two easiest ways to get a hold of me. And then through Facebook, I just can't believe I'm saying that, but it's almost easier than sending me. It is easier than sending me an email. Send me a message on Facebook if you're interested in looking at doing a course and that sort. I actually tell everybody, don't do one course. So if you only want to do one course, then just go do it. Don't talk to me. But if you want to do a series of courses, then I think that's where the success comes from. The people that do one course, it's just kind of like, I want to be a ballet dancer, and I go to one class and then I leave because I really want to be a ballet dancer. When you have the servant's heart and you want to serve that group, that audience, whatever it is, then doing the courses on an ongoing basis is the way that you're bringing the latest knowledge to them, in my opinion. So it's really important.
Well, we'll include links to all of the YouTube channel you mentioned and the Facebook page. We'll put that
and my Udemy profile too, which is I don't know. Just search my name on Udemy and it should come up. But
we'll get that link.
Profile page has all my social media on it.
We're gonna put all of the links on where you guys can find Scott. We're gonna put that on the show notes and here in the comments below. So I guess that's it. Guys, thank you, Scott, again for being on the show. Thank you. And I guess that's all we've got right now, guys. Thank you for listening. If you find this valuable, please like and subscribe, and give us some reviews. And I guess that's it. We're gonna catch you again next time. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.